Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of my deck techs. Today's deck is a version of an older deck I made called Green-Black Energy. This time around, I've added blue into the deck, and it makes the deck far more flexible and opens up huge opportunities for great sideboard cards. This deck, while I call it budget, will cost around $50 main board and $25 sideboard for a total of $75. A $75 deck isn't budget to me, but this deck is a more budget version of the Sultai energy list that is running around, where they play things like the Scarab God and Hostage Taker, and I don't. Before we get into it, make sure to check out our sponsors over at flipsidegaming.com. If you use my promo code GREAT, you can get 10% off all purchases over $10. You're helping me while saving money on your Magic cards at the same time. Alright, now we can jump into it, starting with the main combo of the deck. We're playing 4 copies of Winding Constrictor, 4 copies of Fabrication Module, and 4 copies of Glint Sleeve Siphoner. The basic combo is just between Constrictor and the module. We'll discuss Siphoner here in a few moments. The combo is basically to get energy. Get one more of that energy with Constrictor, then put a +1 counter on a creature, which is then doubled by Constrictor. I do need to point out, however, that although Constrictor does get you one more energy when you gain energy, it does not count as a separate energy trigger. What I mean by that is, let's say you have Constrictor and Module out. Then you play Attune with Ether. It does not give you 2 energy from Attune with Ether, then give you 1 more energy after that energy trigger resolves, which would make Module have 2 separate +1/+1 counter triggers. Instead, in that same situation we just used, Constrictor just adds 1 more energy made by Attune with Ether, giving you 3 energy all at once and only 1 module trigger. Okay, now that I've explained the main combo and its quirks, let's talk about why I consider Siphoner to be a part of the combo. Siphoner does a lot of things for us in this deck. It draws us extra cards every turn. It gains us energy not only when it enters the battlefield, but as well as when it attacks. Having a creature that can give us repeatable energy triggers when it attacks, as well as draw us a card, as well as having Menace, which makes it hard to block, is tremendously strong. This is the best card in the deck, inside or outside of the combo. Alright, we play a land here, and then we go Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Play that out. God, I love this card. So when it enters, we're going to get 2 energy because of Winding Constrictor, and we'll get to put 2 counters, and we're going to put it on Glint Sleeve Siphoner and make our team a little bit bigger than it already is. Alright, let's attack here. Definitely with Hydra and Siphoner, although the Siphoner will probably die. Yeah, let's just do that. And get the energy trigger. God, I love just getting energy so much with Siphoner and drawing cards. Yeah, we're going to put it on Siphoner, so he has to block it with a bit more if he wants to kill it. Alright, yeah. Looks good to me. Now for the rest of the creatures we're playing. We're playing 4 copies of Bristling Hydra, 4 copies of Longtusk Cub, 4 copies of Rogue Refiner, 2 copies of Rishkar Pima Renegade, and 2 copies of Tempest Caller. Bristling Hydra is one of the best finishers in the deck, next to Glint Sleeve Siphoner. The card is incredibly hard for most decks to deal with. Longtusk Cub is that good early game card, as well as having its own little combo with Winding Constrictor, where you just pay 2 energy for 2 counters on itself. Rishkar can buff up 2 of our creatures, which again can be huge if you have a Constrictor out. It also can help fit in a ton of spells on turn 4 because of its tap mana ability. And finally, Tempest Caller. The card is really good. Now, it doesn't synergize at all with our energy or +1/+1 counter theme, but it can tap down your opponent's entire board, which is very good in stalemates or when you need to push a ton of damage to either your opponent or Planeswalker. Oh, almost forgot about Rogue Refiner. Draws us a card, gains us some energy, puts a reasonable body on the board, and makes this deck way more consistent just because of how much value is in this card, especially in a deck that plays Fabrication Module. Okay, now it's Rishkar, which it's unfortunate we have 2 of these in our hands. The only 2 copies in the deck. We're going to put them on Winding Constrictor and Rogue Refiner, and the reason for that is because Hydra doesn't need the counters, and I want them to chump those. Because Hydra is a 6. If they don't block Hydra, we have lethal. That's our only lethal. So, yeah, let's get in for all 3. This is lethal on its own. Yeah, we're going to get our Die Young back, at least. Well, no, he's probably going to block with, yeah, my Tempest Caller and the Hostage Taker. Well, if you're not going to block my Bristling Hydra, Now he can't play anything. I guess he just didn't do the math. Yep, there makes it 8 power. And that makes it 10 power. And that's exactly wow. The only way we could have won on that round was him not blocking. So, yeah, there's the power of Winding Constrictor and our creatures out. Now to the non-creature spells. We're playing 4 copies of Attune with Ether, 4 copies of Die Young, 2 copies of Blossoming Defense, and 2 copies of Confiscation Coup. Attune with Ether is a no-brainer in the deck. It's an auto-include in all energy decks that run green. Die Young is our Harness Lightning. Yes, I get that it's a lot worse than Harness Lightning, but its removal that can sometimes net us energy can be useful. Confiscation Coup is another big reason for me to run blue in this deck. Being able to steal creatures right now in a meta full of midrange is really strong. And finally, Blossoming Defense. There were 2 slots open in the main board, and I filled them with Blossoming Defense. There's a lot of removal running around right now. It's good against removal. Oh boy, man. Oh freaking boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Confiscation Coup, Hostage Taker. What is this? The question is can I actually cast my own Glint Sleeve Siphoner from their Hostage Taker that I stole with Confiscation Coup? Our land base is simple. 4 Ether Hubs, 4 Foul Orchard, 1 Submerged Boneyard, 1 Woodland Stream, 4 Forest, 3 Island, and 3 Swamp. The only thing I should point out here is that Ether Hub is a must-have card in this deck. Fixes for not only all 3 colors, which is obviously important, but also gains this energy when it enters, which can actually be relevant with a Fabrication module out. Sideboard may still need some tweaking. Essence Scatter might be a must-have here in the sideboard, but here's what I got so far. 2 more Blossoming Defense against Control, 3 Glimmer of Genius against Energy Mirror matchups and Control matchups, 3 Negate against Control or any other spell-based decks, 2 Vraska's Contempt against midrange that runs Gods or Planeswalkers, 2 Walk the Plains against midrange, and 3 Yaheni's Expertise against aggro, token decks, and energy decks that run Royal Virtuoso. That's it for the deck, guys, but wait, before you leave, I need to mention that there will be no voting this video. Next deck tech will be called Praise Oketra. It's basically mono-white tokens, but with some Oketra-themed cards. That leads me to my next announcement, which is that when I release that video, the 5 new choices to vote for that video will be the following. Praise Nicol Bolas, Praise Ronas, Praise Bantu, Praise Hazaret, and Praise Kefnet. I was going to have you guys vote on 5 tribal decks and rename them to like tribal deck so-and-so to 2.0 and then have 2.0 at the end. But I'm going to wait for the next set to release before I do that, because there will be new Dino, Vampire, Merfolk, and Pirate cards in this new set. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the gameplays tomorrow.